How you doing, folks? Eric Carlson here, running for Congress in the 1st Congressional District of Illinois. Today I want to address something very important. This is something that early on in my campaign I did a video on. It's on my YouTube channel. Anybody can go back and look at that. I told people I would be upfront and honest with them from the beginning of this, brutally honest. So I'm going to do this video because one of my opponents in the primary has put out an ad referring to a criminal history, and I want to give you a background on that. And yes, there's a lot of things I'd like to say. That first of all, there's three things I can't stand in this world: bullies, cowards, and people who abuse power. And this is a big reason that I'm running. Um, our country is being destroyed, and unfortunately, a lot of folks out there are finally getting to see this stuff. How what goes on behind the scenes, and we're seeing it with the Department of Justice, the FBI, local, state, CPD, Cook County State's Attorney. You see how these people are. The rest of America is just coming around this. I've known this for well, minimum of 28 years, because that's when all this stuff happened when I was young. Now, the ad you're going to see from my opponent is in the world of men, it's a punk move. It's a punk move. A real man would have called me or contacted me and said, "Hey, there's this issue. What's the deal with that?" That's what a real man would have done. But you see that he's fallen right into the the politician category of using whatever they can to gain their power, and that's the problem. People in power abuse that power, and we're seeing that, and people in America are waking up to it. So I want to address this because people are going to wonder, well, why are you running? If you have a felony conviction, why are you running? How are you running? Well, the reason I'm running for Congress is because I am forbidden by law to run for any state office, but I can run for a federal office, and I figure I can do more good at the federal level. I can't stand by and allow what's going on in this country to go on, to continue to go on. I'm watching it devolve into something that's going to go to a very bad place. And some people get that. Some people still have their heads in the sand. The people on the left are actually actively pushing this stuff. So why would I put myself through this? Why would I put myself through this scrutiny, this amount of pain, having to relive all this stuff, bring all this stuff up again, the abuse that's going to come from it? Why would I do that? Because I love this country more than myself, period, flat out. I do not hide from this. I have asked, I have used every means available to me. I've contacted every media outlet I could. I've contacted the Cook County State's Attorney over the last 28 years. I've gone every avenue possible to try and get this rectified. And a big thing, when I tell people, especially in the black community, that I understand where you're coming from, when someone tells you, or you tell someone that they don't listen to us, they don't understand, they're not getting it, no one's helping us because of the system. I understand fully. My life was destroyed by a bunch of corrupt people, and like I said, I hate cowards, and especially moral cowards. Moral cowards are people, we all fear things. That's natural. That's human nature. But moral cowards are people that see the right and wrong, see the right path, and take the easy path, the path that's going to cause them the least amount of trouble, least problem, might get them promoted. When you have a state's attorney that prosecuted me immediately after a judge, now this was in a bench trial, so only one person made a decision, a Democrat judge in Cook County. Now, if you look at your ballot this time, when you go to the polls in this primary and everything, or in the general election in November, you look for the race for all the judges. You will not see one single R. There's a reason for that in Cook County. It's because they control everything. And it's been this way for decades, folks. It's been this way for decades. I was a Cook County Sheriff's deputy after serving honorably in a Ranger Battalion. You don't know how these people are. And anybody can sit up there, and I'm sure there's people that are going to watch this and say, well, he was convicted of a felony, so he must be guilty. No, folks, that's not how this works. If you don't know how the legal system works here, I pray that you never have to go through this. I pray that your son or your daughter or anyone that you care about doesn't get caught up in this system, because once you're in their system, they don't care. And how do you get in that system? Well, it's very easy. There's a lot of people out there. 60% of this country is on medications for mental health issues. 60%. Now, this was 28 years ago. A woman approached me not once but twice in a bar at the Southside Irish Parade on Western Avenue. Not once but twice. She came up to me. I never went looking for her. I never had anything to do with her. Didn't know the woman. She approached me twice. The second time she approached me, came up, grabbed me by the back of the head, pulled me in, and gave me a kiss. Then she asked me if I wanted to leave the bar. And stupidly, being 25 years old, she was 29, I left the bar with her. Long story short, we went down the street, kissing. She asked me if I had a car. I said I did. It was a couple blocks away. She said, okay, I'll wait for you here. She went into another bar. I went and got my car. Came back. She ran out of the bar, got in the car, started kissing again. We pulled right off of Western Avenue, and we had sex in the front seat of a Camaro. Now, just think about the logistics of this. When I explain to people, they're like, well, how does that work? How does a sexual assault take place in the front seat of a 94 Camaro with no cooperation, supposedly, from the woman? It doesn't. That's the thing. It doesn't. It's a fallacy. This judge, who at 54 years old was single, never been married, so make of that what you will. His ability to rule on something. Now, this video might jump around a lot because there's a lot and I get emotional when I talk about it, but Cook County is #1 in the nation for wrongful convictions. Now, this judge, Judge James Schreier, wrongfully convicted this man, Richard Johnson, black man, about the same time, within a year and a half of my case, in a bench trial for a sexual assault, and DNA proved that he didn't do it. This man wasn't even in a state, and the judge convicted him. We were told by people in the Cook County courthouse that this particular judge had a, quote, problem with sex cases. Now, I had the police, the day that I went in, telling me, kid, you're getting fucked, because the way this ties in is this woman who made the complaint, she didn't actually make a complaint. She went back to the bar after she asked me to drop her off. I said, where do you want to go? She said, well, we have to go back to the bar because my sister and my cousin are waiting for me. And I testified to all this, and I told the police all this the next day. How would I know all these things if she didn't tell me? This woman claims she was a 29-year-old virgin. So she had a reputation that she thought she needed to protect. So when she went in there and her sister asked her, she's like, hey, what happened with that guy that you left with? She said, I don't want to talk about it. And then she went back in the bathroom. Supposedly, they say for 20 or 25 minutes she was in the bathroom. Then she came out, and the sister asked her, what happened with that guy again? And physically grabbed her by the shoulders and started shaking her and said, what did he do to you? And she blurts out, well, he raped me. Well, we found out later, this down at years later, when there was testimony, the other thing, they said her mother came out and said, I too was a victim of rape. And, you know, I'm not here to argue that. Each case is individual. I'm only talking about my case. When people say believe all women, that's a bunch of horse shit. You have to look at the facts of the case and the people involved in the case and what their actions were. Every action of hers up to that point. And here's the transcripts right here. I've got boxes of stuff here, and I go through them, and it's pretty depressing for me to have to go through and relive all this stuff, especially when I'm looking at all these lies. So I'll just give you this is my attorney questioning this woman at the end, because you're going to see on the ads, you look like John Dillinger. You know, if you don't know how the legal system works, prosecutors throw as many charges for one thing at you as possible. They'll throw 20 charges at you trying to get something to stick, because that's their job. Their job is to put you in prison. That's how they get promoted. That's how they get points. If you don't know how it works, her cousin who testified in here, who was at the bar with her, walked into the police station the following day while I was down there and said, I'm Mayor Daley's press secretary. What are we going to do about this? That's what she told the police. That's what she told the investigator for the state's attorney there. They stopped everything. They had to call downtown to Chicago. Now, we're on the far south side on 111th Street. She called downtown, got Adrian McBain, her supervisor, to come down from downtown out to 111th Street to make the call. She walked in, found out who Noel Gaffney, that was the press secretary for Mayor Daley. Noel Gaffney was there. She found out who she was. She said, "Go ahead and charge him." I'd like to read to you. Well, I'll just do this right now. This is something my attorney asked the woman on the stand, and she said, "Did Eric Carlson threaten you?" "No." "Did he hit you?" "No." "Did he threaten any member of your family?" "No." "Did he say anything other than what you have described in your testimony?" "I don't remember." She also says, "I don't remember, I don't recall, I can't recall," 33 times during her questioning. That was so she couldn't get pinned down on facts, because the whole thing was a lie. Like I said, if I sound like I'm angry about this, I am. This destroyed my life, destroyed my family. You want to know who I am? Ask anybody who knows me. Ask my family, my friends. They all know about this. I run 2 nonprofits. All I do in my life is help other people. If you're going to say that this is the case, I am a person of integrity and honor, which is why I cannot stand this. This is what hurts me more than anything, that someone would question my honor in this way and said that I actually assaulted a woman, which anybody who knows me knows I would never do. Again, I'm sorry that this jumps all over. There's so much to do. I've thought about this for days. How am I going to do this? If you go back and look at my video on YouTube, it's called Wrongful Conviction. It's more of a laid out, I don't go into many details. I just kind of give people the thing. But this, after seeing that ad and the way they post it, and of course they post your mugshot, and nobody looks good in a mugshot, but I want people out there to know this. I don't run from it. I don't hide from it. If anybody has questions, and I've asked this in videos, I've contacted media, no one gets back to me. No, I'm more than willing to sit down with anyone, anytime, anywhere, ask any questions, bring all this evidence to you, show you the actual evidence that, yes, this judge has a history of wrongfully convicting people and having to free them, that Cook County does have the highest number of wrongful convictions in the nation. If you don't know how the system works, but you're starting to see it. You're seeing it at the federal level with what they did to Donald Trump with the Russia collusion. We know that didn't happen. The FBI went as far as to get illegal warrants to spy on a presidential candidate and then a sitting president. People in power, you don't understand. And this is at the local, the state, the federal level. These people get in power and they have their own cliques. The Daleys, the Madigans. You see Madigan's on trial now. He ran this state for 50 years. He was friends with the Daleys. All these, the Southside cabal here, the Strogers, the Daleys, the Madigans, the Cullertons. You see them, they're all getting popped now because the families are kind of losing their power. So some of their members are actually going down. You saw one of the Daleys, one of the Cullertons, now Madigan's going down. Burke, all these guys, they ran this place. They do not care about you. No one in power. These judges that you see with the D next to their name, they get those positions because they donate to the Democrat Party of Cook County to get slated, to make sure that they get the slot. The Democrat Party will not allow a judge to get in power that they cannot control. Period. If you don't believe me, this is how the system works. And like I said, you're starting to see it. And the cracks are showing at the federal level and people are pissed. This is why I'm running. And if you ask yourself, well, why are you? It says right on the front page of my website, not the candidate you want, but the candidate you need. So I'm asking people to look at this for what it is. Like I said, it's all public record. I'm willing to sit down anytime. If I'm out at events or anything, come up to me. Ask me questions. I have no problem talking to people about this because it may be your son. Maybe your son that this happens to. Maybe your daughter that this happens to. People need to know what goes on in this country and how things actually work. I'm the only candidate that will not cower or cave to anyone in Washington. I'm not afraid of anyone. I'm not asking for anybody's money. I don't want anybody to back me and say, oh, well, you backed a sex offender. Not asking for that. Not asking for anybody's money. just asking you to look at the facts and see it. You know, ask yourself this: why would I put myself through this? Why aren't you running? You're at home. You see exactly what's going on in this country the same way I do. The country's falling apart. We're on a razor's edge, folks. And I hate to say this, but this country cannot last the way it's going if something doesn't change immediately. And unfortunately, a lot of the people that you have in power, Republicans included, don't have the stomach, don't have the balls for this. They're not fighters. They've never gone through anything hard in their life. I've got I've got more scars inside and out than any candidate you're ever going to meet. And I wear them proudly because I stand by everything that I've said. And if you want someone who's honest, who has integrity, who's going to tell you exactly like it is, who's not going to make excuses, I'm your guy. If you can't bring yourself, if you can't see past this stuff, if you can't bring yourself to vote for me, please, by all means, vote for someone else. Now, getting back to my opponent using this, like I said, if I had information like that or something, first of all, I wouldn't use it because I'm not a punk, and I'm not a politician. And we see this Republican primary for governor. They're tearing each other up with all this backstabbing and stuff. I'm not a politician. I don't do that. I had people approach me with information. Several people approach me with information about other candidates. I sent them an email. I said, I'm not doing that. I'm running strictly on the issues. I will not use any of that stuff. I don't care. I'm running on the issues. I'm not running against anyone. I'm running for a position. And that is to try and save this country. And like I said, I won't use any negative stuff. But anybody else wants to, you'll see exactly what, we have 4 candidates running, and 3 of us are first-time candidates on the Republican side. And if you're a first-time candidate and already you're going to the political, if you have a political, like a campaign manager and stuff like that, which these guys do, they think that this is how you run politics. This is why people are sick of politics, because of the backstabbing and the bullshit and the everything that goes on. So I'll close this here. I just want to. I can't quote to you everything that went on here. There's literally boxes of stuff here, but I do want to the quote from the judge that first heard this, the bond court, right after I was arrested, when I went to the bond court, before anyone knew who the connections were to the Daley. Now you got to remember, this was 1994. Richard Daley was the mayor. His previous position was Cook County State's Attorney. All the people involved in this at the state's attorney level were either hired, promoted, and worked for Richard Daley in the state's attorney's office. They are beholden to him. That's why they had to call the Adrienne McBain, because they looked at the facts and they said, well, this doesn't make sense. And then her cousin walked in and said, I'm Mayor Daley's press secretary. Everything stopped. Now we got to get somebody down from Chicago. And even the police. And again, going back to, I fully back law enforcement. Believe it or not, I fully back law enforcement. I do not back bad cops. When people just blindly say back the blue, no, sorry. I judge you on an individual basis, how you act, what your professional modus operandi is, how you behave. Are you worthy of that position? Well, like I said, I was a Cook County Sheriff's deputy at the time that this happened. I was in the process of the hiring process for the Chicago Police Department. It was in the testing process and the physical and psychological tests. My goal was to go to the Drug Enforcement Agency, and that career, everything in my life was destroyed. I lost everything, all my money, everything. My life at 25 was destroyed because of this. And the actual thing is that this woman, she got pressured. She got put in a position where she felt her actions. She's 29 years old. She has a reputation being a good. She walked into the police station and said, "I'm a good Catholic girl. I wouldn't do something like this." Well, think about that statement. I wouldn't do something like this. Well, what is it that you think that you did? She knows, and her name is public record. I'm not going to say it here, but the name is public record. Like I said, any media wants to come talk to me, you can go and you can find this woman and do an interview, and I'm more than happy to sit down with any of the people involved in this case. The state's attorney's name, he's a private attorney now. His name is Richard Andrews. He came and apologized to me. Immediately after the judge said guilty in the bench trial, I was taken into a room behind the court, right behind the courtroom, and he came in, Mr. Andrews came in and said, he goes, "Eric, I just wanted to say I'm sorry." That's what he said. And we've had a conversation since then, and he spoke to me about how this woman, the woman who made the complaint, 10 years after the trial, sent him 2 tickets for a vacation and a bottle of alcohol and some other gifts, and told him that he was her hero, and she still had fixation. Now, as far as I know, she was still single, and he said he had to send those gifts back because it was way out of line. This woman also, he said that she had gone and watched prior to, we were in continuances in court for 8 months. Prior to my going to trial, this woman went down to 26th in California and sat in on sexual assault trials that were being tried by Mr. Andrews, so she could see exactly how it went on, so she could get her lies in order. You can't make this stuff up. There's a ton of it. Like I said, this video is already almost 22 minutes long. But like I said, I'm running for Congress, so vote for me. Don't vote for me. Doesn't matter. If I don't get in, it's a long shot anyway, and I'll go right back to helping people, just like I always have. But please, I'm asking people, don't hit me up with your BS, and don't, with the, oh, you this and that. I don't owe you anything. I owe you absolutely nothing. I'm going to be 54 years old. I've had my life taken from me, and I'm not putting up with anyone's bullshit. That's my campaign slogan. No more bullshit. And that goes from the ground up for everyone out there. I want to get there so you don't have to deal with shit like this from people like this. So don't be a moral coward. Do what's right. All right. Thank you. Again, you'll probably see me out. The primary is coming up June 28th. If anybody has any questions, by all means, you can reach me through my website, ericcarlsonforcongress.com. The email is there. Send me an email. I try to answer them as fast as I can. I'm a one-man campaign. So thank you again for watching this, and I hope you'll share this with people. I hope you'll get it to some people, media, whoever will sit down and talk to me about this, because this is also a way, I was hoping that this would be cathartic for me, because like I said, I don't hide from this stuff, but I'm trying to get my life back by helping other people going forward. So thank you. That's it for now. Bye.